We saw that the Mechaber brings down not once but twice, once in Hilchis Nedarim and in Hilchis Tzedakah, that a person should be careful not to make a neder, Kabbalah, that he's going to give tzedakah. Rather, he should say that he's mekabel b'li neder to give tzedakah. Now, if a person taka says b'li neder, so definitely now he's clear of any nedarim, and there's no isurim l'chayre. He's not over bal yachel, bal ta'acher. But the shaila is there any strength, anything to his words that he has to keep what he says b'li neder? Or it just means I'll try my best, which usually doesn't mean much. So is that what he means to say, that I'm doing b'li neder, I'm just pashut, going to try, or it means that I'm going to keep my word to it and there's some strength, or it means something that he has to keep? So Reb Vosner in Shevet HaLevi in Chelik Yud and Shuvah Kufnun Vav, he brings down from Reb Eliashiv, and he says, Shehamoinim toyim. He says the masses, the people make a mistake. V'soivrim the davar shemikablim alatzmum b'li neder ein chiyuv klal l'kaim, because people have a misconception, a mistake, and he says they think that when they say I'll do something b'li neder, I'll give something b'li neder, it means nothing, and it just means I'll try, and there's no meaning, and there's no chiyuv b'chlal to give it, and he says it's not true. Yet he doesn't say exactly why he's mechuyev. Pashasi means the fact that somebody says he'll do something, that in itself means that he's going to keep his word. And Reb Chaim Kanievsky as well brings down the bevadai mitzvah likayim diburai. He has a mitzvah to keep his word. Afilu im omar b'li neder. Even if he says b'li neder, he said he'll do something. He said it without a neder. And Chanam, he said it doesn't have the chaymer of a neder, but it still carries weight, and it still has to keep what he says. Now, if you look in most Sidurim, when a person gets an Ali, he gets a Mishabeirach, so they say Mishabeirach, and then they say Bavur Shiyitein Matana Lebeis HaMedrash, or Bavur Shiyitein Tzedakah, Ba'ad something, and that's really, in a certain sense, a real lotion of a neder. And it is an issue because when a person hears it, even though the person himself didn't say it, it's the Gabbai that's saying it, but the person hears it and hears the words and he's thinking to himself that I am going to be mechayiv myself this and this amount, or I'm going to be mechayiv myself a matana, which and he answers Amen at the end. Amen is like a Kabbalah. So it's a shtickle serious inyan of a neder, and the person has to be very, very careful. If he makes the neder, he has to be mekayim it. He has all the chaymer of a nedarim in it. And for this reason, Rav Moshe Sternbach in Tshuvas V'Hanhagis, in the second chelik, Tov Ayin Vav, he says that in his shul he changed the nusach from the standard nusach that Bavur Sheyitein Matana Lebeis HaMedrash, and he's changed it Bavur Shebli Neder Yitein Matana Lebeis HaMedrash. Taka puts in the Bli Neder, because if a person makes a neder, it's a very, very chomer dikeiser. I didn't want people to be noidrim v'lei mishalmin and be nichshul in the isra of the darim chas v'sholem. But he's not yet sefriden with that. Wasn't happy yet. And he says that even that nusach, he says af. He says avol nira the af the ein kan neder. He says even though true when a person says b'li neder, there's no neder. Mikol mokim is chayvis l'tzedakah yeshkan. He says like Rabbi Eliyash, he says avadin is chayvis there is. The ein b'dvarav, the fact that he said b'li neder only has la'atziloi mi-isr neder. Ein ochanam, you'll be saved from the isr of neder. Avoloi poter atzmoi mi-ischayvis, he's still mechuyev, the kol ha-yoytze mi-piv yasa. I assume he means the essay of kol ha-yoytze mi-piv yasa, or he means just that the fact that he said it, he should be mekayim his words. V'af she'ein kan choymer isr neder, yesh kan choyves moitzis v'sechot tishmor. Now, in Tshuva later on, in Chelik Gimel, in Tshuvas V'Hanhagis, in Tshuva Kuf Samach, he went a step further, and he's made another change in the Mishabeirach, and he says, even a bli neder, he says, I said, is something which is very chomer, and a person has to keep his word. And sometimes people just don't even realize, and the Gabbai says, Vavu, you'll give a tzedakah, you'll give a matana, and the guy forgets about it, never gives the matana. So he changed the Mishaberach again, and he says, instead of saying Mishaberach, who Yivarech is so-and-so, Bavur Bavur sheyitain bli neder, he's changed it. Ka kisha yitain matana lebeis hamedrash. You'll get a bracha, mishaber zenu, hu yivarech, as so-and-so kisha yitain matana lebeis hamedrash. There's no commitment. He took away the bavur sheyitain. He doesn't say in order when I'm gonna that I will give, but rather he says when you give, you'll get the bracha. So there is no ischayvus whatsoever. And it seems that he still wasn't comfortable with that. Maybe some people still think in their minds that they are mischayv themselves to give it bli neder, and therefore, and if they don't pay it, then they will be nichshul on this moitzes v'sechat tishmar. So Reb Sternbach writes, Oid ani noyeg b'siyata d'shmaya midei zman, every so often, loseis eizes chum kesef litzdaka. I put into the pushka a certain amount of money, v'lezakos al yedei acher, and I mezak it through somebody else, to all those avur elu she'eschayvu lebeis hakneses, to anybody who made a promise or committed to give money, a pledge to give money to the Beis HaMedrash, to give him matana. So he says, I'm being mezake them the money, kadesh yischayvu beis hakneses matana v'lo nosnu, and they didn't have a chance to give. The lefroya ikar is chayvis, because in order to be yoytze their ikar chiv, maspik kol echad pruta. When a person says, I'm going to give a matana, unless he gives a certain amount of money, but if he just says like the standard mishaberach, v'avashiten matana lebeis hamedrash, so matana could be a shava pruta. So he gives a few dollars to somebody else to be mezakit for anybody who owes a neder to the Beis HaMedrash, and each one is zeich in a pruta, and then he puts it into the pushka. That way he says that he's saving everybody from this chomer dikei iser, and he declares, could a person pay somebody else's neder? Person made a neder, he's going to give it. Maybe he meant I'm going to give it, not somebody else. He says, that's why I'm being mezakit to that person. He says, I feel if I'm mezakit to that person, brings a right from the Gemara Dorim, then the halacha is that he was yoytze his neder, even though somebody else took care of it, he never knew about it, and he didn't pay his neder. He was very nervous about this Isser of Nedarim, and so he kept on changing it, and after everything he still gives money to make sure that everybody is yoytze their neder. And what's interesting is that in the Pischei Tshuva, in Shulchan Aruch, Reish Nun Ches, Oy Zayin, he brings down from the Vishava Koyen, that when a person says, I'm going to give bli neder, he says you should be careful how you say it. Because he says that there's many poskim that say that when it comes to tzedakah, just like by Hegdish, there's a halacha of amirosei ligavoya kimisirosei lehegdish. When a person says he'll give something to Hegdish, and many places say huadin to tzedakah, it's like he made a kinyan, and he's mechuyev through a kinyan, and there's no chazar, he can't back out. Normally when a person makes a neder, he makes a kabbalah, he makes something, he has within teich kedei dibur to back out from what he said. It's not yet finished. It's not cemented yet what he said till Teich Kedei Dibur. After Teich Kedei Dibur, he can't back up. But within Teich Kedei Dibur, he could. So he says, if there's a din of Amirosei Ligavoya by Hegdish is Kemesira Lehedjet, so he says if a person has to be very careful when he says, let's say in Yizkor, he says in Shberach, and he says that I'm going to give Bavur She'etein Bli Neder, even if he puts in the Bli Neder, he says, I will give. It's already too late. You already promised to give. The fact that a second later you said bli neder, it's like within Teich Kedei Dibur, true, but if by the tzedakah, the halacha is that you don't have that leeway of Teich Kedei Dibur, so then as soon as I said I will give a matana, the fact that he says within Teich Kedei Dibur bli neder, the Vishava Kohen says you have an issue that it might be too late to make, you can't make a chazara. Now, avada, that's a very big dvar chiddush. And many poskim argue, and they say that avada, your amira, your das was right away to say bavur she'eten bli neder. So the fact that, technically speaking, you already said bavur she'eten, and then later on you said bli neder doesn't take effect, and many of the poskim al kapanim say that avada you could do that, and it's not really a problem because your machshav originally was to make such a commitment bli neder, and therefore the fact that you spoke it out doesn't make it into a neder which can't be chayzer. Besides the fact they bring down that many gedolim hold the k'tzais as well, and the k'tzais is in Reish Nun Hey Beis says that when it comes to tzedakah there is no din of amirasa ligavoya kimisirasa lehedus, so you don't have this issue. But b'hanach sinah v'salkinon that you see the chaymer of a person making a neder and how paiskim that you have to make sure to say bli neder, and even after bli neder, when you say it before and afterwards, a person has to be careful when a person commits and makes a pledge, that if he did make a pledge, he definitely has to be mekayim the pledge, and a person should, as much as he could, say bli neder, and some people are very careful even without a bli neder, like we saw in Moshe Sternbach, to say that you'll get a bracha when you actually give the money, but not even to be mekabel b'leif and bli neder.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.